So why don't we start with you just telling me? Are you guys comfortable?
Can we just do this?
Yeah, that's fine. We have the poster behind you. So I guess, what was the inspiration for the film in the very beginning? The first kernel of...
The idea for this movie came from basically my desire to work with this guy, with Dominic, who I'd seen on stage in Jersey Boys in Chicago. He was in that musical there for about a year and a half. Was it? A year and a half?
A couple years.
Yeah. And I knew Dominic was a really amazing character actor, but then I saw him on stage and was kind of like hit in the face with his singing ability, and I wanted to create a character that combined both of those talents. And I also wanted to work with Joel P. West, who's one of my favorite singer-songwriters in San Diego. So in a weird way, it was kind of like a three-part collaboration between Dominic, myself, and Joel, and we created this character together. And while I was writing the screenplay and bouncing ideas off of Dominic, Joel was also writing an album from the character's perspective, and so the songs that Joel was writing were kind of influencing the script, and the script was influencing some of the songs that he was writing, and that's how the story sort of evolved.
So everything was kind of happening symbiotically all at once. That's cool. Have you worked like that before, Dominic, with a role where it was kind of built for you and with your input?
No. This has been quite an experience as far as putting it together and being a part of that collaboration in a way, and but also in that it's using, I guess, the talents that I've had as a guitarist, as a musician, and a singer, as well as like it being grounded in a like a subtle character drama has been like something amazing.
Really great, I imagine.
Yeah.
So with the script, how did the story evolve? Like, how much did you know about this character and the story you wanted to tell in the beginning, or did it, where did it come from?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I started writing the script in... That was a crazy laugh.
We have company next door, but that's okay.
I started writing the script in February of last year, and we had a general idea of where the story was going to go, but there was a lot of room for the story to evolve, and depending on different actors that were coming in, how they responded to the script, and the things that Joel was doing in the music, the story did have the room to sort of go in different directions, but the general beats of what was going to happen with the main character were all kind of set in place from the beginning.
And when you were shooting, did you stick really closely to a script, or did you guys improvise and change things in the process?
I don't know.
He wrote a script that was, had its guiding posts and things, but he was a little bit loose and with some of the characters, and particularly the relationship between me and my sort of supporting supportive friend, my manager in the film, in the story. He and I did a lot of bantering and back and forth, and then there are three sisters that come into the story, and I think that what makes the film is really successful is the ability for them.
The film isn't hilarious, but
sometimes it can be. But no, I think that the relationship between the sisters and their chemistry is something that has a real feel of off the cuff, but
it feels very natural watching. It doesn't feel manufactured at all.
Yeah, I think that's a real strength of it, and but I think that is coming from both his writing and directing style, as well as nudging the actor to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, with it still feeling like it's their sort of idea, or it's coming natural. And also Brett, the DP, Pollock, he has that aesthetic, and what he was doing with the film as well is that it feels very natural, and like you're just there watching them. You're not, he's not trying to make a gorgeous his picture. He's just sort of watching things as they're happening, as they are.
Like a character in the scene himself.
Yeah.
So how did you find the sisters? Did you guys know those actresses before?
No, we held a pretty traditional audition process for finding the sisters, and the main difference was we already knew that we had Dominic to play Brooke, so he was in the room throughout the entire audition process, and we had girls come in and read alongside him individually, and then we started bringing them in threes and mixing them up and seeing how the chemistry was between all four of them in a room, and that's how we found them.
Well, they were great. It felt like they were your real sisters while I was watching it, because it's just so like natural and comfortable, and as if you guys had been doing it for a long time.
Cool.
How long was the shoot?
It was 19 days total.
Short.
Yeah, I think it's kind of short.
It's pretty short.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some other films that seem to do it in even shorter.
Yeah, I mean, some people just don't sleep in between days, so that can condense things a bit.
I think that's. There were a couple of days where we were able to sort of take some time off, but I wouldn't. I think your product is going to suffer the quality of it if you do it any quicker than that. We did it. It's an hour and 35 minutes, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's an hour and a half, almost exactly.
Okay, so I'm thinking it's not a really long feature, but if you're shooting something that long and it's only taking you 15 days, man, that's
wrong.
such a grind. Maybe the aesthetic of the piece is that it's dialogue driven and it's not going to be as complicated to shoot, but I would never want to shoot something any shorter, you know.
Well, I think when you're doing a naturalistic style, you need time to like really feel things out, and if you're rushing it, you read that when you're watching the finished product.
Yeah.
You know, there's no like breathing room for it.
Yes,
I like that.
I think surprisingly, even though it seems like a really fast shoot, it didn't feel that fast to us. I think we did have time and room to explore each of the scenes and to see if there was a better way to go about them than was written in the script, and that often happened with a lot of the scenes. And I think if we didn't have the time for that, I think the movie would have suffered, or it would have we would have just stayed to the script that I wrote, which I don't think is as good as the movie that we made.
Mm-hmm. And I think I read somewhere that this was micro-budget. Is that true? Would you describe it as a micro-budget production?
Yeah, I would describe this as a micro-budget production.
Really? Can you share how much your production budget was?
Not right now, no.
Okay. Well, when I was
My
watching
producer
it,
would kill me.
when I was watching it, I didn't read it as micro-budget. You know, I've seen other micro-budget films where it's a little more obvious. Mm-hmm. Not that it takes away from how good the story is, but sometimes you can tell.
Yeah.
In this, I didn't feel that way. I felt like the aesthetic and everything served the story.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way that we were able to pull off this movie on the small money that we had was because we had an entire community behind the movie, and that community in San Diego, the indie art scene down there, which the movie sort of is about, that's also the community that helped make the movie happen, and without everybody kind of coming together and helping us find free locations and donating their time and donating their talents, and there's no way we would have been able to make it.
So talk about the music. I mean, I know you performed all of your own songs, obviously, and then you had a lot of other musicians perform.
Yeah.
Friends with these people, or how does that work?
Well, Joel P. West, who we mentioned before, was San Diego-based musician. He wrote what is the album that the main character is known to in the story to have released online, and have been performing and sort of gathered this following, this sort of cult following in the scene down in San Diego. So the story's about that. So what we decided to do is actually write an album, and all of these songs, like a full-length album, were composed by Joel, and then we worked together to arrange the music, and then we recorded the album, had it produced on keeping with the same sort feeling of the story, and then we released it before we premiered the movie. So that part of the music is out there, and it's very much in line with what the character is going through. And if you get a chance to watch the movie and listen to the music, it does kind of tell the story, or it's an added amenity, which I think is really unique and cool. And
Yeah,
we're
definitely
really
a strength of it.
Yeah, we're really proud of that K9's album. But the rest of the music is based on what he was saying. You know, this community down there that it's all indie San Diego musicians, and it's a really eclectic soundtrack. It's great.